What's up, everybody? I'm Lockouts, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your keybinds to make you one badass Havoc DemonHunter. Check this out.
Take your mouse and click the button, won't you subscribe to me? Lockouts providing the content that you see. I'm visually stimulating your mind, 1 minute at a time.
Alright, everybody, jumping right into this, I'm going to keep this short, sweet, to the point as I can to try to help you guys out, alright? The reason why I bind my keys like I do is because everything is set up in priority and it's set up in consistency, meaning that if I have a dispel on one character, I use it all across a character, different characters, no matter if I'm playing a paladin, a priest, a DK, whatever it is. If I have a stun on one character, I make it a stun, that same key, the same stun on the next character. The reason why we bind keys versus using your mouse to go and find the spell and then click on it and then try to drive around and operate your character, if you're getting rolled up in PvP and stuff like that and you're not binding your keys right now, or you're not binding them appropriately, the next guy that's used to his keybinds is rolling you up. That's kind of what it is. If you're still using your mouse to click spells, you're not doing it right. Stop it. Don't do that. Bind your keys to a spell. Get used to it. It might take you a couple of days. It might take you 10 hours of gameplay, however long it might take you. Play until you get used to binding your spells, all right? Jumping into spell list priority, my 1 through 5 key are keys that I'm going to be spamming all the time, meaning that you operate your character with WASD. Anything that is around your one hand that is within reach, that is not a big stretch, that is easy for you to be pushing, or that is an easily accessible button without you, having to stretch all the way over to try to push your 6 key. I do not use my 6, 7, 8, 9, 0, minus, or plus sign. Those are all unbound and they're rebound, all right? So spell priority is 1 through 5. These are buttons that I all the time are smashing and using all the time. So as I'm holding the W button, I can be hitting the 1 key, I could be pushing the number 2 button, I could be pushing 3, I could be pushing 4, and I could be pushing 5. With my number 1 button, I have it as my Demon's Bite so that I build Fury, and then I have my number 4 button as Chaos Strike so that I can dump my Fury. My number 2 and my number 3 are fillers as my Blade Dance and my ranged ability for Throw Glaive, all right? As we move into the next spell priority after 5, notice 6 is now bound to the F key. If you look right next to where WASD is, anything that is around those keys becomes bindable, all right? So E, R, F, T, G, B, V, C, X, Z, and Q. Those are all bindable keys. Instead of having to reach way over and push your 6, 7, 8, or 9 button, you just bind them to the buttons like I do. I turn my 6 key into F, and that is now my Chaos Nova. I turn my 7 key into Q, and that is now my Immolation Aura. My Vengeful Retreat is where 8 is, and that is now my E key. C is a button that I don't push all the time, so it's down where my space bar is. I will drag my first finger down and I will push the C button to I-beam. That is whenever I have enough Fury and I-beam is off cooldown. So as these spells move down my bar, notice the priority. I'm not going to be pushing them all the time. Like my Metamorphosis, I have that on my Z key, all right? And that means that I'm not going to be pushing Z all the time, but when meta is up, I will, push Z and then transform into meta and go into meta. Binding these keys and using macros appropriately will make your gameplay a lot smoother. It's going to make the difference on whether or not you're getting the kill in PvP or whether or not you're padding meters in PvE, all right? So the next thing that we'll get into is my mouse, all right? Having a good mouse, having a decent mouse with multiple keys, more than 2 or 3 buttons that are on the side. If you have a mouse that has 2 buttons on the side, you could set up Control and Shift modifier macros, which means that you would then use, like if you have 2 buttons on the side, say you have F1 and F2 bound to them, you could use Shift F1, Control F1, and Alt F1, and that would turn that 1 button into 3 different bindable spells. So you just by pushing a modifier such as Control, Shift, or Alt, that will change the binding of the spells that are on the side of your mouse. Now, if you have a mouse that's like mine, I have 9 bindable buttons that are on this. This is the Corsair Dark Core right here, RGB. And this mouse has 2 buttons that are right here on the side, the 2 that are right here, the regular buttons, a center D press here, a button that's here, and then on the side of it, it has a center D press, a forward and a back button. Now I have this bound as F1, F2, F3 is my center D press, F4 is the forward button here, and F5 is the backward button here. F6 is the little button that's in the back, and then your middle scroll wheel is just a bindable button, all right? Now, I have this set up as F1, F2, F3, F4, F5, F6, and then Shift F1, Shift F2, Shift F3, Shift F4, Shift F5, Shift F6. So, F1, F2, these keys are right here on my mouse. F3 is right here, that button that sits right where my thumb is, so that's something that's where my Reaping Flames is, and then if I hold shift and then push that button, I will shadow meld. So it's something that's easily done, it's done on the fly, it's quick, you don't have to try to find it and look for it. When you're ready to shadow meld, you just push the shift and then that center button that's on your mouse and you instantly shadow meld. So if you're avoiding a greater pyroblast from a mage, or if you have another demon hunter that's rained from above from you and you're on the ground, you could shadow meld and hide from the guy. There's all kinds of different stuff. If you pull aggro and PvE, you could shadow meld and get out of it. There's all kinds of different uses to bind your shadow meld, all right? Now, my F1 key is consume magic. F2, if I'm running in PvE, or I mean PvP, is reverse magic. F3 is my Reaping Flames. F4 is my imprison. For my focus target. F5 is my bracers ability. F6 is my PvE trinket, and then Shift F1, Shift F2 goes into different prioritized spells. All right, this would be my trinket right here, Shift F1. Shift F2 is a taunt. Shift F3 again is shadow meld. Shift F4 is a hellstone from a warlock. Shift F6 is my nitro belt, so I hold the shift and then I push the little button that's on the back of my mouse, and then I can pop my nitro belt and hopefully it doesn't blow up and kill me when I use it. And then Shift F5 again is my PvP trinket, so that's bound to 2 different spells. So whether or not I hit the 6 here or I hold shift and push the back button that's on my mouse, I will pop my PvP trinket, all right? And then again it moves up until the next bar that's right here, and that goes into control 5, which is hold the control button and then the back button that's on my mouse, and that'll clean, like it'll pop my cloak for me. And you know, you can, like if you're running visions and stuff like that, or if you're raiding or whatever, you could pop your cloak like this, and it's just an easy way for you to pop your cloak without having to mouse over it. Notice these are not buttons that you are going to be hitting all the time, so you know, binding control and then the back mouse button is just something that's easy for you to do. It's not something that you're going to push all the time, but when you need to push it, it's just there. It's a clean, easy bind, all right? And then Control C is where my center D press is, the same as my Reaping Flames, the same thing that would, if I push shift, it'll shadow meld me, and then if I push control, it'll put me into rain from above, and then I could start fell lancing my target. And that's all just done with modifiers, all right? Control, shift, and then the regular button. So my regular button on the side here, F3, is Reaping Flames. If I hold shift, it will go into shadow meld. If I hold control and then push that button right there on the side, it'll put me up into rain from above. And then R, I think of R all the time as reload, because I play a lot of competitive shooters also, and R on all your shooter games is your reload. So it's something that I'm used to tapping all the time for when I'm reloading guns and shooters. So I make it my fell rush, because you know, it's instead of reload, I tap it like, you know, it's ready. You're ready to do an aggressive move, whether or not you're protecting or getting aggressive. That's the way that I think of R in my head, all right? So R is my fell rush, and then Shift R is whatever target I'm focused or have locked onto, it will imprison that target with Shift R. And then Shift wheel up will pop my darkness, Shift wheel down will pop my blur, all right? And then if I just on my keyboard right here, right next to your number 1 key is the little apostrophe and a little squiggly line. That is my button I use for mounting. All right, I use that. That one's bound right here. You can see it. That's right here. I use that so that I can mount fast without having to, you know, take up a mouse button or something else that's got like a modifier to it. I just push that button one time. It's not something that I push all the time, but when I push it, it'll mount my character for me, right? And he'll just grab a mount, and then he'll take off. No big deal. All right. Hopefully this makes a little bit of sense to you guys with prioritizing your spells and binding these keys appropriately around WASD. Do not use 67890, the minus or the plus sign. Unbind them and then bind them just like I have it set up. I have my 6 key bound to F, my 7 key is Q, my 8 key is E, my 9 key is C, my 0 key is Shift C, my minus key is T, and then my plus key is now 0. You guys could set these up differently. You know, you could have Z and T or whatever these spells are. You could prioritize them however you want to. Just know that all the keys that are around W, A, S, and D are now freed up when you unbind the 6 through the plus sign keys, all right? So utilize your key binds appropriately. Bind your keys to the spells that you're going to be casting. Try to, even if you want to copy these, that's fine, just get used to them. Once you set your binds, try to set them all across all characters. So if you switch characters, your interrupt is going to be on the same key for the next character that you jump on, all right? And just setting up consistency will make sure that when you go and you switch characters, or if you play on any character that you play on, whenever you push your T key, it's going to be an interrupt, and you just will automatically know that. It'll just be muscle memory and a reflex for you to automatically kick a spell with the T key, no matter what character you're playing on. So hopefully this helps you guys. Like I said, I'm trying to make this short and sweet and to the point. So if you guys learned anything from this, or if this helped you, please, by all means, like, follow, subscribe, click all the little buttons, help a fella out. I'm Lockouts, baby. Peace.
Take your mouse and click the button, won't you subscribe to me? Lockouts, providing the content that you see. I'm visually stimulating your mind, 1 minute at a time.